Hey, good looking.
What you got cooking?
Hey. Hey, baby, how are you? Good to see you.
11 o'clock. All in you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My goodness, good misty morning, right? It's still an Oregon morning, isn't it? I see we all remember to spring forward last night.
Yes.
Some haven't, I'm sure. I kind of like that feel that we're like pioneers all the time. This place is a pioneering place with pioneers of light and love. That's kind of how I feel about myself sometimes. Just traveling along on this, through the universe on this sweet little place, this little sweet spot, planet Earth, Mother Earth, riding the wave of creation, infinite creation. And we've come together here today to be together in community. I look at it that way. Some of us, maybe perhaps all of us, are seeking a spiritual experience. I know I am when I come here in the mornings. Something always happens to give me that little, whew, that was nice. Yeah. Wow, just kind of like a whew, breath. Like the meditation this morning. That meditation was great, Cheryl. Thank you. I was walking along with you in that forest, having that moment, having that experience, and then not wanting to open my eyes. But thank you. Thank you very much. Speaking of spiritual experiences, is there anyone here? I don't see any fresh faces. I see a fresh face that's fresh for the morning for us. We've seen her before. Amy, welcome back. Thank you for stopping in and seeing us again. Yeah. Enjoy your coming back. We kind of have these moments of grace, but before we get started, I don't have a program, but I want to cover the announcements before we get started. And you notice that we're kind of upside down if you open up the program. Hello, turn that around. But that's just to have a lot of fun, you know. That's great. Just to see if you are awake this morning.
That's it.
Yeah. So starting next week, let's see, Reverend Don Kerr. The topic. The Reverend Don Kerr will be talking about boundaries build bridges. So be there or be square. Okay. Now, join us for hospitality following this morning's service. Isn't that great? Every Sunday morning you can just go down there and enjoy conversation, enjoy some coffee or tea or whatever you drink. Leave your whiskey bottles at home and actually have a snack when you're down there with us. So now there's something really fun happens next Sunday. Soup for the soul. Yeah, soup for the soul. If you had soup for the soul before, you know you want to be back for more. Absolutely. So we're having a book sale in March. Doggone it. What's the date on that? I forget.
Don't know.
You know?
It's still a mystery.
I thought...
Is it the last Sunday, guys?
It's going to end up being the last Sunday of this week.
Well, yeah, right, it is. I don't know who's in charge of that. You know, I'm just one of the ministers here. I don't have an idea what's going on at all. I just show up and have fun. Okay, well, we're going to have a book sale sometime. And says here there's, on the Soup for Soul, you know, there is a sign-up sheet that is on the table outside. If you want to bring soup, you want to be a participant of that, bring your own specialty. I make soup all the time, but I don't know if I'll bring it or not. So, see how that works. I think what we're going to do is do some singing, aren't we?
I love it.
Let's do some singing, okay?
All right. Today is easy for you. All you have to be able to sing is Be the One.
Shall we stand and do
Yeah.
that?
So stand, be the one you want to be. How hard is that? Very hard. Here we go. Right? Oh, come up, my friend. Mary's going to come up and add a little drums to our sound. Yes, please. Come to me. I love it. I love collaborating. Be the one. Brett, be the one. When you're gonna live your life now the way you always wanted to, when you're gonna find the love that's deep inside of you, when you're gonna climb the mountains that lie across your path now, when you're gonna be the one you never quite allow yourself to be. Right here, be the one you want to be. Be the one you want to be. Be the one. When you're gonna learn the lessons that life is always given, when you're gonna cross the threshold that makes life worth living, when you're gonna love somebody the way you always wanted to, when you're gonna find the love that's there inside of you, and be the one you want to be. Be the one you want to be. Be the one. Keep on friends. When you're gonna change the patterns that keep your life from growing, when you're gonna free your spirit and let your love start showing, when you're gonna let your light shine through all your tears and sorrow, when you're gonna claim your birthright and be the one you want to be. Be the one you want to be. Say it again. Be the one you want to be. Be the one you want to be. I am the one. I am the one I want to be. I am the one I want to be. Yeah. Right here. Right on.
I hope the day will never come that I cannot awake to the sound of drum.
We'll get you back.
I think we have time to pray ourselves in right now. Is that what we're doing? Well,
You got the program.
we have our, I've got your program, Reverend Moore. Thank you. It is right, isn't it? Let's do that. This is our special time. Really, really catch this. Cheryl, can you help us with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
Good morning. I invite you to take a moment. Close your eyes if you wish, or just settle into your space. Putting aside any busyness or confusion that might have preceded this moment, and know that you are in this one blessed moment, this one precious moment we call now. The moment we've come to celebrate the love, the beauty, the power of Spirit. And that Spirit is flowing in and through each one of us today, each one of us that's chosen to come here in this space, and those who've chosen another path for their day. I know that they too are blessed. I know that this moment is special to each of us. We embrace this moment in our own way, knowing that the message comes to us through music, beautiful music, through words spoken from the heart. And each person is hearing what they need to hear this morning, coming from wherever they're come and being whoever they are this morning, feeling whatever they're feeling this morning. I know that the truth is here for each of us in a unique and magnificent way. And I embrace this truth, and I'm grateful for this truth, and I'm grateful for this moment and these words. And I'm grateful to be a part of this fellowship. So with great gratitude in my heart, I place these words in the power of the law. I release these words to the power of the law, knowing that they are done as spoken, and through grace so much more. And if you would join me in affirming, and so it is. And this morning we have an affirmation. If you would join me in knowing that I am a divine incarnate, I drop all masks of false pretenses that I may have developed for the eyes of the world. I let myself aside as love takes over. Now I can clearly see how I am a vessel for unconditional love, and love flows into me and through me and out into the world. I gratefully live as my authentic self, and so it is.
We have a reader. Susie, you can go wherever you want, Susie.
We'll test this one out. Good morning. How's the volume? Okay. Everyone is creative. Where does the energy want to go now? I ask this question and sit with the sense of the life force within. Oriah Mountain Dreamer. Believe that your word goes forth into a real creative power, which at once takes it up and begins to operate upon it. Ernest Holmes from Creative Mind and Success. Creativity is natural and innate to all people. In Science of Mind, we understand that all our thoughts are creating with the law of cause and effect. In Unity teaching, this is sometimes called the law of mind action. I like this because it reminds me that before any action in my life, there is a thought in my mind. Truthfully, all people are always creating their experience of reality through their thinking. Some use this creative power in service of life and love. Some use it for destruction and limitation. And I guess each of us does our share of both. The hallmark of spiritual maturity is that we become intentional in our creative thought. We are no longer only using this power unconsciously, but rather we are directing our mind to a higher plane of reality. We seek to be a blessing in the world and to be open to receive our own abundant blessings. In what areas of life should we direct this power of intentionality and creativity? Here are a couple of clues. Where are you experiencing dissatisfaction and disappointment? There may be a false belief in play that you can identify and release. Also, what would you love to experience? Listen for the desires of your heart and know that the good you are seeking is seeking you now, awaiting your willingness to create the space to receive it. Life wants to be good to you in just the right ways that are perfect for the shape of your soul. Say yes. Yes. And, as always, an affirmation. I am open to receive my good right now. I create in my mind, in my life, a space for receptivity. I welcome a higher order of experience where my needs are met perfectly and perfectly on time. And so it is.
You know, there's some discussion about how teachers indoctrinate their students, and I'm going to admit to you right now, on tape, that I do. One of the things I do. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, did I miss something?
We're going to have a special little show.
Oh, we are. Well, I will share that in a minute then. Sorry.
No problem. No worries. It's unscripted.
I got excited.
Good morning. Moore asked me to close the loop, so I am closing the loop today. One of my mentors said to me, not personally, but has said, if you want to change your life, figure out how your worst day was your best day. I took that to mean that I can take the worst day of my life, once I move through the pain or the most painful of the feelings and emotions, and turn, as in reframe, it into one of the best days of my life. In mid-November, Simon, some of you may know, our little ambassador dog, started showing signs of changes in his health. These changes seemed to accelerate by mid-December. And in the last couple of weeks, I started figuring out that he was much, much sicker than he let on. Since then, I had been preparing for one of my worst days. At times, I became overcome by anticipatory grief. And yet I decided to go all into the feelings and the emotions. For two reasons, I believe. The only way out is through. And while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Last Wednesday, I got to say, until we meet again, to my baby boy, my old man, my soul dog, Simon. With the help of a compassionate vet and two very dear friends who were brave enough to experience this again as they lost their own beloved animals not so long ago, and who were willing to experience this with me, I sent Simon over the Rainbow Bridge. Yes, I am sad. Yes, it hurts. And yes, I am consciously choosing to focus on the gifts and the gratitude that came along with loving him. I am so grateful that I got to be Simon's dog, Ma. I think it's funny to say that. I'm so grateful that I got to experience, and you got to experience, his love, his caring, and service to others, and as well as his fun and funny and cheeky little self. I'm so grateful that I got to hold his hand as he prepared for the bridge. I'm so grateful that I got to hold him as he took his last earthly breath. I'm so grateful that I got to hold him as his soul took its first cosmic heavenly breath. I'm so grateful that I got to let him go, let him cross the bridge to run wild and crazy and free into his next best life. I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of, and you got to be a part of, his life, and he the heart part of mine. And even if you didn't know him, or if you've never had an animal companion, please know that the love and the peace and the comfort you have offered him here extends to all the people and all the animal companions you love and still love through us. Thank you. We love you. May his memory be for blessing.
All right, Darcy.
All right. I was working with a student who got up to do part of a project that we're doing, and it's very interesting what she said, because this is what I had to talk to the student about as I was indoctrinating her into the concept of be nice to yourself. She got up to sing. She started singing. She sang a little bit and then started crying. And I said, "Oh, hun." And so we sat there for a few minutes and talked, and I said, "What's up?" She said, "Oh, it's not okay in my culture for women to sing, yada, yada." She's going on and on. She said, I'm not a good singer. And I said, "Gosh, so you say that to yourself before you sing?" I said, "I would never do that, and you would never do that to me. But you feel okay to do that to you, to undermine you." And I said, "Let me tell you that I'm going to hold the goodness of you, the beauty of your voice, and your want to get better at it. I'm going to hold all of that until you find it. Because sometimes that's what we got to do. We got to help each other out." And this song says, you know what? No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I see your true colors. True colors, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, hang tight. I'm such an only child. I'm used to doing this alone. No, true colors, right? True colors. You with your sad eyes, don't be discouraged, don't you realize you have to have courage in a world full of people. You can't lose sight of it all. The darkness inside you can make you feel so small, but I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me your smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, call me up, because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true. Come up to somebody, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. And I see your true colors like a rainbow, like a rainbow.
Thank you. Thank you for your true colors coming through. Now, this is our special time. This is why we come here. You know, every church, every organization needs a steady hand at the wheel. And we have a steady hand here by the name of Reverend Moore Horton. He's our senior minister. And he's going to be delivering the message today. And it's going to be a good one. I can feel it. Thank you, Reverend Moore.
Thank you, Reverend Don.
I'll get out of your way
All right.
here.
Give Reverend Don a hand. He didn't get enough praise. Oh goodness, better put this down or I'll knock it over. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
What a joy to be here with you this morning. We're going to talk about I guess it's going to be talk about a little bit of masks, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be authentic and authentic living. Now, there's all kinds of things that we do in life to kind of put a little barrier between us and the rest of the world. Sometimes our masks look like this. You may recognize this from a workshop that was done, right? Well, gosh, in a difference, that might be our work mask, or maybe that's our play mask. I'm not sure. Well, here, this must be our mask. We're out there playing and having a lot of fun with people, right? We're just having a great old time. Yeah. Oh, goodness sakes, yes. There are various masks that we use. Oh, when we're contemplating nature. Oh, yeah. When we're taking that walk that Cheryl gave us during the meditation out there in the woods, maybe we wear that mask. And then sometimes we just wear a mask that speaks of the love that's in our hearts and our minds. So I think what we're seeing is that there's many ways that we present ourselves to the world. But within it all, there's that authentic self, that real self, that powerhouse, that energy, that love that is life itself manifesting as each one of us, as ourselves. Yes, it's wonderful. It truly is. Well, in passing, I've got to say congratulations. You made it here today on a day when the time changed on us, right? Okay. So what would the word authentic bring to mind? Well, in looking it up in a dictionary, I found of undisputed origin. Of undisputed origin. So you know where it's from. And genuine is another. It's true. A person who is authentic is true to their own personality, to their own spirit, to their own character. They're not false, but they're real and actual and made or done the same as an original. And this kind of summarizes the basic concept of what it means to be authentic. Now, I desire to be authentic. Do you? I see any heads? Yeah, mostly. Some of you may not. That's okay. You don't have to be authentic if you don't want to. The first part of our message this morning is going to focus on what I might call the exterior appearances of being authentic, whether we're wearing masks or not. Okay? And we're going to get a little bit then into the spiritual, metaphysical understanding of being an authentic person. So let's look like what it is like in practice. What is it that it makes people authentic? Well, all of us, I think, are familiar with some major personalities or persons who've been in our conscious at one time or the other. How many of you have heard of St. Francis of Assisi? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, here's a prayer that he wrote. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we receive, it is in the pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we become born to an eternal life. Amen. Anybody heard that prayer before? Yeah, probably. I don't know when it was written. What, 1400? Something around there? It's been around a while. So by being true to himself, Francis has been able to influence not only his own life, but the lives of many other people. How about, I bet somebody knows who Mother Teresa is. Huh? I think so. What, you know, when I think of what is okay, if Francis's value that he's bringing into life is his peace and consolation and understanding his relationship to the infinite, what do you think that Mother Teresa's main value was? Compassion, absolutely. She was able, I believe, to see the divine, she would call it the Christ, in every person. And if that person was dying on the side of the street or sick or ill, she was willing to take that person into her arms and treat that person as if this person is a divine gift, which the person is, which it is. And she ended up founding a whole order of charity, men and women alike, and influencing many people. How many of you heard of Nelson Mandela? Oh, yeah. Well, Nelson's a political character, and he has marvelous, interesting story you take hours to talk about. But he spent, 27 years in prison. And one of his life values was to be nonviolent. And so he was keeping in mind the goodness even of, yes, his fellow prisoners, but also of the captors. And he was able to change South Africa when he came out, got rid of apartheid, and created a more democratic form of government. And Gandhi, of course. What would you think Gandhi's main value might have been? He was key in freeing India from the British rule, but it was done peacefully, non-violently. A value indeed. Oh, here's a whole different field. Andrea Botticelli. Anybody heard of that Andrea fella? Yeah, he sings pretty well, doesn't he? He sings beautifully. So what would be one of his key values in life? Melody, song, free voice to sing and be present with the people through his lovely voice. My wife and I went to his concert in Portland not too long ago. It's beautiful. So living authentically means, to me anyway, living from your personal values, the values that you've chosen to bring to light in yourself. And bring that, it's like you've opened the light, you've removed the bushel basket that might be between you and the world, and you let that light shine. That's what I see. There's a quote by Carl Jung that says it at least in part. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Privilege of a lifetime. All right. You see, being authentic means we are really one with ourselves. Our life flows from within, and when authentic, we experience peace within, and then can enjoy supportive relationships with others, supported by the infinite universal goodness itself. Now, we don't always, perhaps, present ourselves in an authentic way. And when we're not authentic, we may suffer from depression, perhaps, or low self-worth, or a lack of intimacy in our relationships. And if we're not authentic, how could people relate to us? They're not going to be able to know who you really are if you're censoring yourself and showing up as anyone other than you. You're already, other people are already taken. Be yourself, okay? Be yourself, yes. Okay, let's look at some signs that perhaps I may not be authentic in my everyday living. I'm taking this from an article by Dr. Jennifer Huggins, who's a psychologist, PhD type. If you question what others say, you may be inauthentic. How does that work? Well, this may look like self-doubt or second-guessing that one says to another person or how one says it. Fear of judgment by the person with whom we are communicating leads us to censoring what we say and not speaking our truth if we're doubtful, if we're not confident of what's coming to us. How about, anybody ever heard of the term people-pleasing? Oh, yeah. Anybody ever guilty of pleasing people-pleasing? Okay. Saying what we believe the other person wants to hear versus how we really feel. Focusing on the other person's needs and wants versus our own. It doesn't help communication, doesn't help our self-worth. How about comparing oneself to others? Anybody ever done that one? Oh, my neighbor just got this brand new car. Oh, I wish I could have a brand new car. Oh, look at that house. It's so beautiful. Ooh, that person is really fit. Gosh, I could probably lose a little bit here, Comparing yourself to others is a sign that you're not confident in yourself. You're not present fully as your authentic self. Oh, there's so many more, but let's go to not being humble. Being able to admit fault and one's mistakes leads to genuineness within the self and in relationship. I sing with the organ Senators, as almost all of you know. And the other day we were rehearsing a song, and I made a pretty obvious mistake. Put a run in where it didn't belong, and the director's kind of, I go, as long as I know that I made the mistake, he doesn't have to stop and beat me on the head about it. Oh, well, anyhow, so we just admit our mistakes, and that's if you're afraid to do that, then you're not really being confident in your authenticity. And then lack of empathy. Being able to understand another's emotional experience and being open to another's thoughts versus being caught up simply in one's own. Although we want to be authentic ourselves and be strong in who we are, that doesn't mean we're insensitive to other people or that we're not bringing an awareness or a compassion or an empathy to them. It's really important that the balance between the internal authenticity, being true to yourself, and being true to the other. It's a relationship. It's like maybe like a teeter-totter a little bit. You want it to be pretty level. So those are just some of the clues that you might look for in your life or around you. If you think maybe there's a little bit of inauthenticity, fakiness coming in. Now, if you are struggling with being authentic, there are some things you can do. You can start setting boundaries for yourself and learn the value of the little two-letter word called no. Don't overcommit. Begin to develop a self-compassion and self-love practice through affirmations. We all know about affirmations. We've heard it before. I am enough. I love myself. I'm learning to love myself. Great affirmations. How about mirrors? Have you ever used a mirror in your spiritual practice? Look in the mirror, see yourself, look yourself in the eyes, and bless yourself. You ever done that before? Yeah. This author I was reading says, do it several times a day. Tell yourself you love yourself. Let yourself know, yeah, you're worth it. Celebrate the things you really like about yourself. Don't be afraid of that. And ask yourself, what is missing in your relationships? Think about it a bit. Is it intimacy and closeness? If so, practice open, honest, and direct communication. Navigate the path of your life by your values. Those that you've identified as key to your spiritual growth, as key to your personal growth, as key to the growth and lovingness in your family, as key to what you are expressing in the world, those values. In Dr. Huggins' words, authenticity deepens the relationship you have with yourself and with others. Being authentic means something. Actually, it means everything. Well, okay, I can go with that. How about a change of pace? Anybody interested in a little short humorous story? Okay, let's give it a try. See if you find it as humorous as I did. A man walked into a bar. The bartender asked him, "So, why the long face?" The man said, "Well, my grandpa died, and we had a funeral yesterday." "Oh, I'm so sorry," said the bartender. "Here, have one in the house." "Well, thanks, but that's not all," said the man. "You see, this morning, his will was read. Now, I used to think I was his favorite, but then he left $15,000 to Peter and John and Alice. Me, I just got this old suitcase. It had some trinkets that I sold for less than $1,000. "Is that all? That's not nice. There must have been something else," the bartender said. Yeah. There was this old Bible, too. His prized possession that he wouldn't let anyone even touch. Well, I opened it, and it was full of gibberish, printed by some guy called Gutenberg. I was so irritated that I tossed it away. "No way," said the bartender. "An authentic Gutenberg Bible? They're worth a lot of money." "Oh, not this one," the man said. "Some fellow named Martin Luther King Jr. had scribbled his notes all over the thing." the value of being authentic, right? Oh, goodness. Oh, well, we've looked a bit at the psychology of authentic living and some of the benefits, pitfalls, and techniques we can use to express ourselves more from our hearts, more from the inside out. Okay, let's look at, there's just a brief quote from Dr. Holmes in The Science of Mind. He writes, all of the great mystics have taught practically the same thing. They have all agreed that the soul is on a pathway of experience, that is, of self-discovery, and that it is on the way back to the Father's house, and that every soul will ultimately reach its heavenly home. Every soul, every person, every individual is on a path to self-discovery. That's what we're talking about here. When we talk about being truly authentic, we're discovering who we really are. Remember the basic definition of authenticity, of undisputed origin? Undisputed origin. Well, there's a major clue as to the spiritual meaning of authenticity. What do we teach is the origin of good? You know, don't you? We call it, what? The one? Infinite? The power? The presence? The wisdom? The joy? The energy? Life itself? Here I'm quoting from an article in the Science of Mind magazine of this month, page 68, by Saffron Jeffries. I like the way he put this. There is but one power that flows through the universe. It gives rise to elements and atoms and molecules and cells, as well as to galaxies and other systems. It empowers you and me to awaken and to have this experience. It provides the energy for us to take this breath, which means it is this breath and the oxygen we breathe. It is the gold thread that flows back through time, aligning all expectations and experiences throughout the history of the universe to bring us to this moment. It is source, it is divine, it is infinite intelligence. Because there's no doubt about this origin, there's no doubt about our origin. We are undoubtedly secure in this origin, the infinite. The challenge is that we sometimes, often even, forget the plain and simple truth. The divine created humanity in their image and likeness, male and female. He created them. And God saw that all that was created is good. The point is, the undisputed origin of each of us is the one. That can't change. How we express ourselves can change and does change as we grow in wisdom and understanding. What we must remember, what we get to remember, is that we cannot ever separate our connection from and with the divine. The divine is everywhere present. It is in us. It lives in us in that higher power, as we call it, that inner soul, that Atman, that goodness that is within our hearts. It lives there. So, in that sense, we're always authentic because we're a manifestation of the divine. All we have to do is learn how to let that loose and let it go. The more we come to feel the divine as present, the more we can express ourselves authentically. We simply manifest the divine qualities, those values that we've chosen for ourselves to express and to experience. We choose these, whether they be compassion or love or honesty or respect or responsibility or caring or joy or infinite goodness, whatever good thing we express. This is our authentic way of living, our key values. We live these values. As we do that, we are authentic and divinely so. Now, there are some ways that can focus on bringing this high spiritual awareness into our daily lives. You've heard me mention this one before, I think, but I'll bring it up because I think it's so important. One method for releasing the divine splendor and opening it up in your life is to acknowledge all your feelings. I put it to my sense. I try to acknowledge all my feelings. Whether I would judge them helpful or unhelpful, I just acknowledge them. When I feel fear, I may take a moment to inquire of myself, fear, where is that coming from? I might even, sounds a little strange, I might even address and say, fear, what is your message? Why are you here with me now? Now, in asking these questions and getting answers within myself, I kind of bump into collections of feelings or unhelpful beliefs that are kind of tied together. And I think this is mirrored or embodied in our brains when this neuroscientists talk about the systems within our brain, that we have sympathetic systems and we have all systems and other type of systems where it's not just one part of the brain doing something, it's everything tied together. Well, behind those tied together brain patterns, I believe there are beliefs. And these complexes can be expressing themselves in negative ways, or in ways we don't like unworthiness or feeling separated from the all good. Now, this process of inquiring of the feeling may take some time. It might take time to penetrate to the core unskillful belief and see its origin in my experience. I can say, well, maybe in the past, this way of handling things in my life was useful, but it's not anymore. And as I bring this relatively unconscious mindset, this complex of ideas or complex of inner relationships, into the light of consciousness, it tends to dissolve, it tends to ease. Maybe not go away completely all at once, but it will ease. You may have to do this more than once. Through this process, in this process, you have to realize that when you're tied up in belief systems that limit you, you are using a lot of energy just to keep that facade, and it may be an unhelpful facade, that mask or masks in place takes some work. As you begin to release from the need to express that way, you free that energy, and it comes back to you, and you can use it for more beautiful, active parts of your life. So, I'd like to also recommend, I don't know if I put that last one very well into words, but it's kind of a visceral thing. The tools that we teach so much and recognize will help us be authentic. Contemplation, meditation, positive affirmative prayer, these are wonderful tools. Counseling with a professional may help. A practitioner or a minister can also help speed up the process of integrating these shadow self-beliefs into one's whole self. Yes. Integrating shadow self-beliefs into one's whole self brings back the energy. Now there's a little tool I've found, it's a deceptively simple tool that you might find useful also for increasing your awareness of your spiritual authenticity. At the end of the day, record this in your daily journal. Do it for at least a week, maybe for a month, okay? Ask yourself this simple question, just looking at the day, what percentage of the day did I spend in positive thoughts about myself and my life? If you're honest with yourself, you may find yourself starting at a somewhat low level, maybe 10, 15% or something like that. But as you do the practice, your mind and your heart will become aware that there's opportunities for self-approval. And it's almost impossible, by paying attention to this measurement, not to increase the positive thoughts about yourself. You can, when you get to 35 or 40%, you're on the road. Get 50% or more, you're starting to really be yourself. And by the time you get up to 75%, you're floating, man. You're really good. Positive thoughts all day long. Wow, what a masterful thing to do. It truly is. Now, you might be wondering, well, what would life be like when I'm authentic? There's a lot of ways to do this, but I've chosen to share a story about someone I love dearly and I deeply respect. This is personal. There was a woman in my life. Her name is Lula Bell Horton. Bless her in her eternal life. She is the one grandmother that I remember so well. I had two, I remember both, but she was something else. She was one of the most authentic persons I have ever known. Now you have to remember that from about my age birth, does anybody have any baby pictures where they put you up and showing your whole body? We were living with Grandma at the time, and somebody took that picture of my mom, and here I am. Well, anyway, that's a long time ago. But anyway, from that stage in life to about age 7 or so, Mom and I and my sister lived with Grandma Lulu. That was her name, Lulu. We always called her Lulu. That's what she preferred. Toward the end of that time, my dad had moved to Portland and began to open a branch of his own business and his brother's business up there. But Lulu was with us, and she affected our life. And I just see her as one of the most simple, authentic persons I've ever met. Her demeanor, her attitude toward life was always joyful and positive. Now, Lulu was a busy lady. She was a mother of 8, okay? A Mormon young girl married to honest Ernest Horton, who was a land developer in Salt Lake City. So they raised these 8 children and did so quite successfully. Lulu was always known, at least in my mind, as the belle of the ball. She was always ready to be the life of the party. She was confident and outgoing, and that she was quick to speak her mind. She was no pushover, I'll tell you that. Now, she used to do things that I didn't understand at the time. I was a budding Catholic, if you were, at the age of 6 and 7. So my idea of religion was churches and cathedrals and, things like that, and candles and vestments and whatever. But she'd go to these lectures from people like Khalil Gibran, for example, in San Francisco at the Art Center, and in the Golden Gate State Park. I don't know if you've ever been there. There's a big amphitheater. And she would tell us that, life is a tapestry. Life is all one. Life is beautiful. Life is a gift. Enjoy what you're doing. I said, oh, okay, that sounded okay to me as a 6 and 7-year-old. Now, skipping way on. At the celebration of her life in her downtown San Francisco apartment on the 8th floor of the building, as I recollect, among her friends and relatives, there was a person gathered to honor her. And that was her boyfriend. He was 78 years old. She passed at age 96. So she was still kicking out there and having fun. They would go to dances every week. They loved going out and having something to eat together. One thing about my grandma Lulu that I will never forget, she loved to play the piano. During one of her last visits that my family was there, I remember her playing a song. I think it was called Laura's Theme, or the theme from the film Dr. Zhivago. And that title of that song, do you know what the title of that song is? Somewhere My Love, right? Yeah. Well, golly whiz, I think our musicians might be able to help us with that.
There will be songs to sing, although the snow covers the hope of spring. Somewhere a hill blossoms in green and gold, and there are dreams, all that your heart can hold. Someday we'll meet again, my love. Someday, whenever the spring breaks through, you'll come to me out of the long ago, warm as the wind, soft as the kiss of snow. Love, oh my own, think of me now and then. Godspeed, my love, till you are mine again.
I submit, there is nothing more authentic than deeply expressed love. And so it is. Namaste.
Sounds so simple to be authentic.
I could have another conclusion if you want a different one. I've got one right now.
No, I'm still working on that one. This song says it very simply. All you
does.
ever have to be is what God made you. Ren? All I ever have to be is what God made you. When the weight of all my dreams is resting heavy on my head, and the thoughtful words of help and hope have all been nicely said. Oh, but I'm still hurting, wondering if I'll ever be the one I think I am. I know I am. Well, God gently reminds me that He made me from the start. And the more I try to live my best, the more I know God's in my heart. And I realize the good in me is always there because of who God is and who I am. All I ever have to be is what God made me. Any more or less would be a step out of His plan. As He daily recreates me, help me always keep in mind, I only have to do what I can find. All I ever have to be, all I have to be, all I ever have to be is what God made me. Oh, God daily reminds me that He made me from the start. And the more I know that it's in my heart, I know it's doing what I can. And I realize the good in me is always there because of who I am and who God is. All I ever have to be is what God made me. Any more or less would be a step out of His plan. As He daily recreates me, help me always keep in mind, I only have to do what I can find. All I ever have to be, all you have to be, all we ever have to be is what God made us, what God made us, what God made
All you got to do is be authentic, is be who you are, and be that love that God's created you to be. Whoa, Darcy, thank you, thank you. Okay, now is the time for us to consider that we're part of a community where we both receive information, we both receive inspiration, and we give of our inspiration, we give of our love, we give of our sustenance, because it's a circular system we live in. What we put out comes back to us. So we have the opportunity now to put out some goodness that's going to help our centers to thrive, so we may continue to be here and have such wonderful presentations by such great musicians. So let us take a look at the offering statement in our program and read it together, or perhaps recite it by heart. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate.
I know you know this one, so sing with me. A little faster. 2, 3. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show. Think that God was the Son. God is the Son, but God so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all. Shine His light as me, oh, as you, so use me, oh God, I stand for you, I stand for you, and here I'll abide, and here I'll abide as you show me, as you show me all that I must do, all that I must do, all I'm asking, Lord, oh, command my hands. What must I do? Command my life. Oh, it's up for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new. Oh, but God needs us to shine His light. Say it again. God needs us to shine His light. One more time. God needs us to shine His light as me. Oh, as you. So use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Say it again. Show me all that I must do. Oh.
Oh, let's just take into our hearts and minds the beauty of this music, the beauty of this circumstance, the beauty that's in each one of us. And we know that that's the true offering. That's the true gift that we bring, our authentic selves into this world to shine the light, to remove the bushel baskets, to know that God is present in each one of us, and that presence is resonated, reflected, and brought back to us, bountifully overflowing by the joy, the wonder, the energy, the peace, and the strength that is the divine presence here in my heart, in your heart, in the hearts of all people everywhere. This is the truth, and let us say together, and so it is. Let's recite together, or read if you like, the prayer of protection in the program. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's stand and sing our peace song. Form a circle if you like. Just be yourself.